As AI agents become more popular with businesses and consumers, the want and need for the extended functionality of being able to connect an AI agent with third-party data is incredibly important and a very highly requested feature, especially from AI agencies who are building and selling these AI agents to their business clients. Clients are asking the agencies, hey, can you be able to do this or that? And up until this point, you had to either create it manually, which is writing code for basically the entire project, or you could use custom GPTs after OpenAI released their ability for you to create those custom actions that can do basically anything. But you're still incredibly restricted because you have to be on the ChatGPT platform itself. Anything that you build has to be in there. It can't be embedded on your website or put behind any social media channel or WhatsApp or a phone number, for example. So the limitations of being able to run this third-party code, especially when you're trying to build and sell this to a client, has been incredibly frustrating and overcomplicated. At Stammer AI, we recently added this ability for you to create custom functions, and you can watch this video to learn exactly how custom functions work within these AI agents. And there's a bunch of different examples, one of which is the example that we're going to talk about today. I've got a ton of different tutorials like this one that can get the live weather from any city. There's also one where I built it where it's connected to a custom Shopify store and can get current inventory data. I also made another one that has the ability to get current order data and tracking information. And that's a little bit more of an advanced example. So today we're going to be talking about one of the simplest and easiest to learn examples, which is going to be how to build an AI agent that knows live stock market data. And so to review, we're basically creating a very simple system here, and I'll review each part of it. So to start, we essentially have the user conversation, and this is how the user and the AI agent are actually going to talk to each other. And that would look something like this. This is the individual chat widget that can be installed on a web page, or you could connect it through an API to things like Facebook or WhatsApp, or you could use the native white label API to connect it to literally any other platform that you want. But it's very simple. It allows the user to enter in a stock ticker, and then the AI agent will go and get the current price of that stock and then return it to the user in this format. The way that this works is the user and the AI are having a conversation. The AI agent has a prompt which tells it instructions on how to act. And part of that includes when the user sends a message like, hey, what's the stock price of Meta? The AI agent is told, hey, you need to extract that data from the conversation and then send that data to the code to take action. And so the AI will be able to take out Meta because it knows that that is the stock ticker. It can then format it into a parameter in this JSON format so that way it can be executed by the code. Now, the code that is being written is connected to what's called the Alpha Vantage API. And this is just a free website API that has live stock market data. And so basically the code is saying, hey, Alpha Vantage, I want you to find the current stock price of Meta and then return that information to me. So Alpha Vantage will get the information and it will return the data, at which point the code will then be able to return that information back to the AI agent. The AI agent then uses that information live to return and create a response that has the actual price of the stock. And all of this happens seamlessly within a few seconds or milliseconds. Now, let me show you. If I go into Stammer and you can see that there's a conversation here, but if I start a new conversation, I'll even refresh the page. I could just type in Meta and it will type in 517. If we go to Meta stock, 517.77. That's pretty much that. The Google reporting of the stock price might be delayed as well, but essentially it's the same price. And we can do this for any stock. So NVIDIA, there you go. And so if we scroll down, we can see the information inside debug mode. And debug mode allows you to see the information that is getting returned from the code that is being used by the AI to create its response. And if you want to turn on debug mode, you can go into the update section and scroll down and enable the debug mode. And that will allow you to see everything that is being sent. The other thing I want to mention here really quickly is that this one is using GPT-4o mini. Now, this is really significant because this is the cheapest model from OpenAI, and it can also run these custom functions. Previously, with cheaper models like 3.5, there were issues when trying to run custom functions, which made it quite unreliable. But because of these advancements that OpenAI has made, GPT-4o mini does work for custom function calling. Now, if you're doing multiple function calls or you have a large prompt, GPT-4o mini is not going to be able to keep up in the way that GPT-4o might be perfect. Now that I've tested this in multiple different scenarios, it always gets it right. And this is mainly due to the prompt being extremely simple and it's calling a custom code that is going to be executed in the same way every single time. There's no variance there or what people like to call hallucination. So if we go back to the mind map, I'm going to share the instructions, and we're going to go step by step to recreate this custom function inside a AI agent inside Stammer AI. And so we're going to need a couple things to get started here. We're going to need to use ChatGPT, and we're going to use ChatGPT to have it actually generate the code that we're going to paste into Replit.com. Replit.com is a really cool website where you can create, host, run, and deploy code all in the cloud for really cheap. And the best part about this is it easily gives you this custom URL, which you need to use in order to call this function from your AI agent. Step 3 is going to be testing this custom function inside Reqbin. You could use Postman for this or any other system that allows you to send and receive data via the post method. And this allows you to make sure that your code is actually functioning correctly before you integrate it with the AI agent, where you then have to layer in the prompt. So it's really important to make sure that you're getting the right return of information from the code first using Reqbin before we move on to integrating it with your Stammer AI agent. Once everything looks correct to you, then you can proceed and create your new AI agent. Once you're in Stammer, you're going to create the new function and paste in all of the information from ChatGPT. Then you'll be able to test the custom function directly inside your AI agent, like we were doing here, where we're telling it, here's a stock, and it will return the price. Once you successfully tested it inside your AI agent, you can then deploy it and embed it on a website, or like I mentioned, in any other social media platform. So to get started, we're going to open a new tab in ChatGPT, and we're going to take this template prompt, and I will have all of this information and everything that you need to copy and paste linked in the comment section down below. All you need to do is take this prompt, and we're going to paste this into ChatGPT, and we're going to modify the prompt by changing the section that says describe what you want the AI to do. This is the only thing that we need to really change. So we're going to delete this, and we're going to say write the Python code Flask app for a new custom function that will take in the stock ticker from the user and get the current stock price and return the current stock price from the AlphaVantage API. Now, the only reason I know how to use this AlphaVantage API is because I literally just Googled free stock market price data API, and that one popped up. But you can use pretty much any public API as long as it has all the correct information. So we're going to click enter, and then we're going to see how ChatGPT is going to start creating the custom function along with the parameters for us to test it. Awesome. So now we have the code and we have the JSON parameters. We can move on to step 2, which is going to be creating a new file in Replit.com. So go to Replit.com, create an account if you don't have one already, and then we're going to click create REPL. And then we're going to select Python as the template. I'm just going to make up a name, stock market data. You can name this whatever you want, and click create. Now, if this looks all confusing, don't worry too much, because all we're going to do is be copying and pasting stuff. So now that the file is created, we're going to go back into ChatGPT, and we're going to copy the code over here, and then we're going to go into Replit, and we're going to paste. Now, there's a few things that are in here that we need to change. One of them being the AlphaVantage API key. And you can see here that it says there's a placeholder that says your AlphaVantage API key. So what we need to do is we need to go get a AlphaVantage API key and then paste it into here. So if we go to AlphaVantage, so we can click get free API key, and you can fill this out and click get free API key. Once you click this, it's going to return a string of letters and numbers. And that string of letters and numbers is your API key for AlphaVantage. So it may look something like that. Now, this could work just as is, but we want to be able to give a little bit more security to the API key that you just generated. So instead of just pasting or hard coding the API key into our code, we're actually going to add it as a secret into Replit, which allows us to hide it from everybody. And the way that we need to do this is we're going to click the plus button up here, and we're going to search for secrets. Then we're going to click new secret, and we're just going to call this API key. And then we're going to paste in the value that AlphaVantage generated for you. So I'm going to paste in my API key and click add secret. And it's giving us two things that we need to copy and paste into our code here. The first is going to be this import OS. We can copy this and we need to paste it right here. And you can paste it before or after this, but just at the top here. And then the second thing is we need to copy this, which is the code that says this is my API key. And what we're going to do is we're going to just straight up replace this all together and paste it in. And now we're good. So now our secret is there and everything is done. What we can do now is click the run button to see if there's any bugs or errors within the code that we have just created. So it's going to run the code, it's going to check everything, And if we can see that there's only one warning that says this is a development server, it's not deployed yet. And that's okay because we know that we actually haven't deployed it yet. That's actually the next step. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to deploy it. And we do that by clicking the deploy button at the top. We're going to use Replit's recommendations for auto scale. However, we're going to drastically scale down everything that we need because especially for testing and getting things started, we don't need all of this resources to just test things out. Now, where this is going to differ for you or maybe something that you're going to sell to a client eventually, depending on how much traffic they get and how much action the bot will get, this will determine how much machine power you will need for your code to keep up with the amount of requests per second, essentially. For us, all we need to do is move everything down to basically the lowest minimums and click done and approve and configure build. At the top here, we're going to see the primary domain, and this is going to be the URL that is publicly accessible for our agent to call it, which means that's when the code is run to be able to return the results back to the agent. This is that URL that we're going to paste into Stammer AI. So we can customize this as we'd like, but for our example, I'm just going to keep it as is, and I'm going to click deploy. So now we'll see it going through the process. This should take a little bit longer than clicking run because it's actually deploying it on a live web server. Shouldn't take longer than a couple minutes though, so we'll just give it a sec. And so as it's deploying, I can basically explain what each of these sections are from a non-developer point of view. And this will just give you a little bit of context so you kind of understand what is going on here. The first section is going to be where it gets all the libraries of how it needs to run the code. We're creating a Flask app, which might be a little overkill for something like this, but because ChatGPT will always push you to creating a Flask app, the same as Claude, it's one of the things that I've just kind of honestly adopted into this workflow. Next is going to be where all your API keys are, and we went over that by creating the secret API key. And then we're going to create the function that will actually get the stock price, and it's going to pass the ticker, which is going to be given from the user. And it looks like everything has been deployed successfully. So now this will be a live URL that we can use and test, which is fantastic. Let me just finish this up real quick. So this is the function that is actually getting the data, and this is returning that data to this URL. And so we can see here this app route / get stock price. This is going to be important because this is going to be appended to this URL. So what we can do is we can copy this. And now we're going to go over to Reqbin to test this. We're going to paste in the URL, and then we're going to get this / here, and we're going to paste that in like that. So this is now the full URL that will be eventually pasted into your AI agent. Then we're going to change get to post, and then we're going to go back to ChatGPT, and we're going to get the JSON parameters to test it. And so we can literally copy this. We're going to go back here and we're going to paste that in. And if we change this to meta and then click send, we got a 200 success message, which is great on the first try, which is always fantastic. And it gave us the current price. And if we go back into our code and we go into logs, and if we click wrap here, we can see that at 12:55, which is basically right now, there was a request to this function, and it returned a 200 message, or a 200, which is a sign that it succeeded. If you get something like a 400 error or anything else, really, it's going to be an error, and this will tell you that it's an error. So for example, if I do something like this, it'll say error 400. And this is the benefit of testing everything in Reqbin first, so that way you can ensure that the information is actually being pulled correctly from AlphaVantage API through the code that we just wrote back into the URL, which will be now used inside the AI agent. Okay, awesome. So this is looking really good. We're getting the right results. Now we need to create our AI agent and connect everything together. So now we're going to go into Stammer AI. We're going to click new AI agent. We're going to do stock price AI, and we're actually going to leave the prompt as is right now because we're going to change it here in a second. We're going to open up advanced settings. For right now, I'm going to put this one on GPT 4.0. Scroll down. I'm going to keep streaming enabled. I'm going to also enable debug mode as well. And then I'm going to click create AI agent. Now for this test example, we don't necessarily need any sort of information in the knowledge base. So for this test, all I'm going to do is type in, and this is just information, a placeholder, so that way it has some sort of data in it for us to allow it to be created. Next, we're going to go over to the labs tab. And this is where we're going to create the custom function itself. A little bit down below, we have the AI base system prompt. Now this is going to be the entire prompt that we saw back in the update section, but this is also going to be the prompt that is used to tell the AI agent when it should call the function that we're going to create. So first we're going to create the function, and then we'll update the base system prompt. We're going to click create new function. And then this might be a little confusing, but the best part about this is we can have ChatGPT give us all of this information. So if we literally just take a screenshot of this and we plop it into the same conversation with ChatGPT, give me the info for the custom function, and it's going to give me all the information that I need to paste in for it to make it work. So the alias, we're going to paste in get stock price. Value, so this is going to be the URL that we have that we tested successfully in Reqbin. We can just take this URL, we can paste it in directly like that. And then the description, we're going to take that from ChatGPT. It doesn't really matter. It's more, this is just something for yourself, really. And then parameters, we're going to also take from ChatGPT, and we're going to paste it in here. And so what this is doing, the parameters are telling the AI agent, hey, this is how everything needs to be formatted. So that way the code can use the information that was given by the user that is now formatted like this to run the code to get the correct responses. The last step is telling the AI agent when it should actually call and run this custom function, get stock price. So for this very, very simple tutorial, we're going to create almost a one-line prompt, which is not necessarily recommended because you would want to always include examples of conversations, how the AI should act in different scenarios. But for this example in this tutorial, we're just going to be showing how an AI agent can call a custom function when appropriate. And so for that, we're going to type in, ask the user for a stock ticker, and then call the function get stock price. And that will ensure that it's calling this function with the data that it gets from the user, the stock ticker, and sends that data to this URL, at which point it will get a response, and then it can send all of that data back into the AI agent conversation. So we're going to click save on that prompt, and now we're done. Now we can test it live and see how everything works. So we're going to go over to AI agent. We have a fresh conversation here, and we're just going to type in meta. No other prompting necessary, and see what happens. Okay. So we have a problem here. This is actually good because then we can show how to troubleshoot this and use ChatGPT to our advantage to help us fix this stuff. So it says, something is wrong. Our team is notified. So usually this is an error with one of the pieces that we've created. And because we've tested things along the way, we know kind of where that thing is actually failing. We know it's not the code because everything is working properly within our Reqbin tests, and we can update this and test this. Let's do Microsoft. Yeah, so we know that the code is still working. Code is still live. Everything is working still live there. So we know that's not the issue. Now let's go back and look at the custom integration that we made, because that's the next step. That's the next thing that we did. We know that that's working. So it must be something in here that's not working. Let's edit the function, and then let's review each of these different sections. So the alias, that looks good. Value, let's just double check and make sure that we've got the right link. Okay. Description, that looks good. Parameters. Okay. So now we can see that, look, there's an issue here. So parameters is formatted incorrectly. So ChatGPT actually gave us the parameters in the wrong format. So what we need to do is say, hey, you gave us it in the wrong format. Here is the right format. Okay. And let's give it a second here. And that looks a lot better. So we're going to copy it, and we're going to go back into Stammer, and we're going to paste it in, and that's looking a lot better, very much more similar to that. Okay, now let's click update, and we can review our prompt as you call the function. Okay, so that looks good. Save. Now let's go back to our AI agent, and let's test it again. And there we go. Now it's working. Scroll down to the debug mode. We can see that the information that the AI agent got in return was the exact same information that we're getting over here. Let's type Microsoft. $653, 406.53. Perfect. Awesome. So now everything is working. This AI agent now has live access to stock market data and can be queried with basically any stock ticker, and it will return the current price. So now this is live. Now you can embed this via a website. You can integrate it with Facebook or WhatsApp, or you could use the white label API, which is going to be your custom domain to be able to connect it to any other platform. And then you have the ability to basically just sell it for whatever price you want. And the cool thing about this is with Stammer, you can do all of this under one platform. We have the ability to have your own SaaS configurator where you can create and sell your own AI subscriptions for these AI agents that you're creating. And the best part about this with this custom functions is the ability to sell custom IP to a business. You're writing code for them that could be sold for a lot of money. And that's just one of the many features that we've built into Stammer AI to help you sell these AI agents to businesses easier. And that's it. So that's how this one works. There's going to be other tutorials within the next coming weeks and days about how to do all these different things, like how to get the weather data or how to connect to your Shopify store to get inventory data or even order tracking data. So if you have any of these crazy ideas or examples that you'd like to see me build, please leave them in a comment down below and I'll definitely check it out and see how I can build it. Possibilities with custom functions are essentially endless to whatever you can think of. And it's going to be extremely exciting to see how people use this within their own white label AI SaaS. So thanks again for watching and I'll see you guys in the next one.